Hi, my name's Tracy Butler and I'm the Director of Links to Learning in Australia. I represent Advanced Brain Technologies, who created the listening program. Today I'm talking with a certified provider of the listening program, Fiona Berry, who is an occupational therapist. Fiona, welcome and thank you for sharing this time with us today. I'm wondering if you could give us a bit of background about your practice and the type of individuals that you work with.
Absolutely, Tracy. So I run a paediatric occupational therapy and speech therapy practice. We currently have 5 OTs and 2 speeches working with us. We see a diverse range of children. So we see children between 0 and 18. So that could mean children on the autism spectrum, children who are just struggling at school, children who have cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, any chromosomal disorders. A whole range of kids come through our clinic, and it's great. We love it.
Okay, so I'm just going to pull up Fiona's website here. So you can see therapyplace.com.au. There's a lot of information on this website. If you take the time to visit it, you can look at what they do there, the services, funding options that are available for different families, etc. So, Fiona, I'm wondering if you can share with me what motivated you to complete your training and become a certified provider of the listening program.
So, Tracy, I've trained as a sensory processing OT. That's probably where I started off. And we see little children who come through who just are really, really sensitive to noise. Now, that translates in a whole range of ways for what is going on with them. So in regards to their learning and particularly around kinder and school, what they can take in. So, you know, we might have little ones who are sensitive to noise or have sensory habituation, which means that they can't tune out, or everything becomes as important from an auditory perspective rather than being able to tune out noise that's unimportant and focus on what is important. So all those sensory sounds coming in just create a jumble of noise for these little ones, and which means that they react in different ways. So they may, you know, for a lot of our little ones, they may run and hide. They may get very frustrated because they can't actually hear what is going on or what is expected, or they may hear, you know, certain beginning of the word or an end of a word, but the noise is too jumbled. There's, in regards to school, that then becomes an issue if they can't understand the instructions that are being given because there's too much background noise going on. We've had other little ones who are just so sensitive to noise that if there's a lawnmower going off in their street, they have to cover their ears and hide in the bottom of the car, and they won't get out of the car. So things like that, you know, even the noise of a toothbrush or the scissors when things are hair cutting, like day-to-day issues that become huge obstacles that the rest of us don't actually think about. So I guess in regards to the listening program, I wanted to find something that would fundamentally fix those issues rather than just using the typical, oh, I'm going to give you some noise cancelling headphones that you have to use. You know, I wanted to know if there was something out there that was going to neurologically change the way the auditory processing system was going to filter sound. And then I came across therapeutic listening and a listening program. Now, there's a range of different therapeutic listening programs that are available. Initially, I went and did a talk for another centre who provided this sort of services, and at the end, they're like, well, this services, you know, for the 10-week program will be $5,000. And I just went, where are families going to find that amount of money, let alone be able to take their little children twice a week to this program? And, you know, there's only one in Melbourne or in the city that I work in. And I thought that's that doesn't work. You know, I'm a mother, I have 3 children, and I understand that that's just, it's hard. That's, you know, not only is it ridiculously expensive, but that it's not going to work. And then, you know, down the track, if you do this one program, well, what if you need more? So then you've got another $5,000 and another 10 weeks of traveling. And I thought there has to be something else. And that's when I came across Tracy and the listening program. And I thought, you know what, this is a home-based program. Once they buy the product, they can do it, you know, again and again. So they've just got one output of funding. And so I did the training and started some of my little people on it. And I thought it was fabulous. We had some amazing reactions. And so I've just been using it since then, and it's great.
Fantastic. Fiona, can you tell me, when you talk about the fantastic changes that you've seen, what are the most typical changes that you see, and how quickly do you see those changes?
Yep, so we see the changes probably within about 2 to 3 weeks, generally from my perspective. So I guess we see changes in that the children are able to tolerate noise better. So, you know, the mum might come in and go, oh, well, they were able to go to the shopping centre and it didn't bother them. And, you know, for us, that's such a tiny thing. For families, that's amazing. You know, that they were able to go to a football game or to a birthday party and the balloon popped and they didn't have a meltdown. So those are the sorts of big things that we see. The little things take a little bit more time, obviously, because you're not assessing immediately, but things that, you know, you do a pre and post assessment and you'll see that they're able to, their listening spectrum. So I think most children hear between 0 and 20,000 hertz, and when you've got auditory processing problems, that may shrink. That tends to expand, so they're better able to understand instructions. They might hear the beginning of a word better, the end of a word better, and rather than filling in the gaps, they've got the whole word rather than, you know, just hearing the it part of hit, and that changes. So a lot of concentration issues get better, and obviously we do it in conjunction with the sensory diet and sensory program, both at home and school, and that, you know, makes a difference as well when it's all done together.
Can you share with me, Fiona, how your families incorporate it into their daily life? Because we talked about the practicalities of doing that listening program at a centre where there's travelling involved, and that creates a whole lot of stress on its own. So for your typical families, what sort of advice do you give them on how they, you know, set it up and run it in their home each day? Like, do they wake the child up and they do their listening in bed before they get up, or what sort of things have you found work well for your families?
So it really depends on the family. So we'll sit down and work out when it's going to work for them, because with the listening program you do 5 days on, 2 days off. Sometimes families like to do that during the school week and just have the weekends where they don't have to worry about it. Other families handball it to dad or the parent who's home on the weekend. So I find that it's really up to the family when that works. Usually we find something that the children will like to do. So, you know, you can't have it on when they're watching TV, or, you know, preferably not when they're eating, those sorts of fundamental things. So they might get ready for school and then have 15 minutes where they sit and draw before school, and that's their calming time, and then they do their listening then. Other families who might have a long trip to school have put it on in the car, so they just listen to it in the car on the way to school and on the way home, and then that's their listening done. Other families pop it on as a relaxing thing before their little ones go to bed at night, so that, you know, you do your stories and your reading and your teeth and tuck them into bed, and they pop their listening on for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So it really depends on what's going to work for each particular family, but generally once you pop it in your daily routine, it's, you know, it's just like another thing that you do, you know, like the teeth brushing and the bag packing and the reader and the homework and the listening. You know, it just becomes part of your daily life for the 6 months you're on the program. But because you see the changes, it's easy to incorporate.
Um, Thank you so much, Fiona, for sharing your wealth of knowledge. And I will say on a personal note that I've referred many families to Fiona in Melbourne and had nothing but positive feedback. So I encourage any families that are watching this to reach out to Fiona, and I think that there's a lot that you can do, and she's certainly got a lot of experience and a lot of resources to offer you. Thank you for sharing your valuable time with us. Really.
Thanks, Tracy.
So I hope you've enjoyed an insight into what becoming a provider of the listening program can do for you, and how your families can benefit from being able to offer the listening program to them. To get more information, I recommend that you go to our website www.linkstolearning.com.au. If you click on the top of the screen, you'll see you've got professional training. If you follow that tab, the live training dates for early next year are published there. You also have the option to do a web-based training, which is available 24/7, so you can complete your training in the privacy of your own home, in your own time, to suit your schedule. There's a lot of information about the learning objectives and outcomes, course completion requirements, and the different programs, level 1, the Spectrum program and the Achieve program that you'll learn about, as well as have access to the Waves multisensory bone conduction unit. So I look forward to you becoming a provider and joining our team. And if I can be of any support or help with you to get that process in motion, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and we would love to have you on board.